here's what we got going on here. So inside, seemingly when you're finished with the bulbs, there's one more. Now, I knew that there was one inside the radio because my buddy Tony Bolin, shout out to Boss Bolin, he told me, don't forget, Jay, there's one in here. Now, the other thing I would suggest to you is once you get this pretty much almost wrapped up, I've driven the car several times now without the dash in it. I mean, it's no big deal. You got your stuff dangling here, not the end of the world. But I'm pretty OCD, and I want to make sure before I put all that stuff back in that everything is accounted for. When the lower dash is out, which I have over here, I showed you guys a moment ago, when that's out, you don't have your flasher plugged in, which starts to kind of come in to some of this wiring that's like hanging here and stuff like that, right? You've got a few things that are kind of dangling, as I would say. But with your flasher not plugged in, here's another wire. I think I kind of tucked it back here, right? All this kind of stuff. Without the flasher plugged in, you put your turn signals on when the car's, on, or, the key's on, and you're not going to have anything. And you might be like, oh, why aren't my turn signals working? Well, I wanted to make sure that those here and here, that those were working. Well, of course, what I did the other day is I put the lower dash, I kind of laid it in here at night, and I plugged everything in, and I was able to determine, like at night, I started the car up, and I checked everything. Turn signals, I had I knew the taillights were already working, which they will work even without the flasher in there. But those are a couple things you got to remember. But I say all that because I had mentioned in the Lincoln forum that I was going to dive into this, and I talked to Nathan Wilson at Driving Dreams Restorations. Check out his YouTube channel. And he reminded me, or I said, hey, Nathan, is it pretty simple just to start taking these out? And after you get these few out, you'll kind of quickly see where the bulb's at. And he said, yes. Now, there's another guy, Robert, and Robert's in the Lincoln forum. He's also on Facebook. I think he dabbles in some of the groups there. But he he's been working on his, I think it's 65. And before I could answer his question, he actually took his apart and he posted a photo in the lincolnforum.net and said, boom, it's pretty right there. So it almost looks like, you can't really see it here, but right there, I think it's right there. But again, all you got to do here is take these I got my 1/4-inch ratchet, and I'm going to go ahead and take these off, or start taking these out, I should say, and get to that bulb. But once I have that bulb done, I've got to get from Tony Boss Bolin a bezel piece, I'll call it, that basically holds the radio in here into the square cutout, rectangle cutout, I should say. The reason being is I think when someone had taken this car apart at some point, because a couple things. One, typically to take this dash apart, you have to take this top piece off typically. And the reason being is there's a screw that comes down in here into the top of the radio. Well, when I took mine apart, I did not have to do that. And also my radio was just sitting in there, which was number 2. So I knew that it had been taken out. Number 3, the antenna wasn't plugged in. Okay, there's another indication that stuff's been messed with and not put back to normal. And then of course whatever number I'm on, number 4, you can see here there is looks like January 29th, 1970. So 50 years ago. No. Yeah, 50. Yeah, 50. I'm like, wait, what? So 50 years ago, this was taken out and probably serviced. It probably wasn't working, and whoever worked on it at the dealership or whatever was probably like, oh, for the next guy that ever has to take this out, let's not put that screw back in here. Now, I'm not going to tell you to do that, but at the end of the day, this radio was sitting in here and it wasn't moving at all. So I'm still going to get that bezel and the 4 screws that hold it there. That way it's, it's the way it's supposed to be. But, I'm not going to get crazy with putting the bolt back through the top and that type of thing, because I'm going to bypass that anyways, and I'm going to have a stereo mounted, or like a semi head unit, a Bluetooth head unit that's mounted in the ashtray, if you guys have done. So not even going to worry about that, but I just want to kind of have it, plugged in and there. That way, if anybody, you know, if I ever wanted to hook it up, I could. But at this point, you can kind of see, just really trying to get through the rest here. I've got to get another piece from Lincoln Land or Tony Boss Bowling. There's an indicator here, a plastic piece that when the bezel's back on and you change your air condition stuff, it's a little indicator, clear, and it has an orange you know, color on it, and it shows you where you're at in terms of your vents and your heater and all that stuff. That those will often break. Mine needs to be replaced. I have it under the seat here in a little baggie, but so I don't know that I'm going to get the bezel back in this week, but I know I can get the map light back in. I can get all my lights working. That way I can take it for a cruise at night and just kind of get the satisfaction that everything is working, everything is good. I'm pretty sure I can put the lower dash back on. I have to double check because sometimes you got to take these pieces off to get to this, which I took these pieces off and I didn't have to take this off, as I mentioned. So yeah, you know, it's kind of like one thing at a time, but the cool thing is if you do one thing at a time and you plan it out and you're strategic with it, you'll be able to get through it without missing anything. So with that being said, I hope you guys appreciate these videos. If you haven't subscribed to Lincoln Addict Podcast, you can go on Apple Podcasts app or download Podbean, Pandora, Spotify, all that stuff as well. But usually Apple Podcasts, or you could just Google Lincoln Addict Podcast and you'll land on the web page to listen to it. I'm going to continue to put out new episodes as much as I can. And certainly appreciate all the subscribers, listeners, followers on social media. Definitely appreciate you guys. Last thing, on Instagram, Lincoln Addict. That's also Facebook. And then on Instagram right now only, I have Lincoln Continental Sales. You can follow my account there, and that's where I'll be posting cars for sale. I'll be also posting parts, I think, here in the near future. So that's a great way to follow. Turn on post notifications. That way you're not missing anything key. All right, Lincoln Addict, aka ODB, we're out of here. See ya.